Welcome to the freaking awesome Marketing for Realtors podcast. Here are your hosts, Mauricio Martinez and Daniel Cicotelli.
So welcome everyone. This is our first episode on our new show, the Marketing for Realtors podcast. And today we have our first guest, Nicole Lombardi.
I am so honored. Thank you for having me, boys.
Thank you so much for being here. I know you're really busy. Every single day you're like running and
That's okay.
doing a lot of things. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We know you have a lot of experience in marketing and with all these years of working with real estate agents, with builders, with brokerages. Our first question basically is, what do you think the real estate agents should be doing in this specific point in time in terms of marketing, of course?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think first and foremost is authenticity. I think any realtor who is trying to market themselves or their brand or what they, the area they're farming, I think it's really, really important to be authentic to who that is. So realtors, the best thing to do, whether you're a realtor, you're just starting out, or you're a new home sales rep, figure out who you are and what your buyer demo is, right? And so are you targeting a young professional? Is that sort of your go-to in terms of your buyer profile? Are you looking to sell homes in a certain geographical location? And once you establish the who, then you have to stay authentic to who that is, right? And so there's various medias you can use and various platforms, and Meta gives us so many of those. But for example, if I was a realtor who was targeting young professionals in an age group of 25 to 40, then I probably wouldn't be marketing on LinkedIn and Facebook. I would be going the route of Instagram and TikTok and potentially some YouTube shorts, where I would put my advertising dollars and my authentic self on those platforms, and information based, right? We are a very information consuming demographic nowadays.
Would you go hard on ads, like putting the money there, or more like an organic kind
I would do a bit of both. I think that with the Meta platform, not sponsored, but I think that the Meta platform allows you to put $100, $200 into a paid ad, where then the next important part of that is mining the data. It's not enough just to throw that ad out and say like, oh, let's hope for the best, cross our fingers and see what happens. I think you have to establish who you are authentically, who your audience will be, speak to that audience, whomever that is. Same thing goes if you're looking, for empty nesters or those that are looking to move out of their family home and downsizing. Again, you wouldn't be on TikTok necessarily for that audience. So understanding who you are, then once you've put the dollars into that marketing campaign, wherever they are, looking at your engagement. So who of this $200 spend that I had, who connected with me? Where were my interactions? Where were my impressions? And then really keep going, mining the data. Like, the analytic is equally as important, if not more important, than the ad you're preparing and posting, right? It's understanding what pieces of those promotions and those videos and the ads stuck with people, right? And that will then dovetail into your organic build as well.
Right.
And so
It's so funny that you said that, because exactly that we had already our introductory episode, and we were talking specifically about that. I mean, because we were saying like we see many agents saying like, okay, we want to spend money. How much do I have to spend? And we're like, it's not that important, the amount. Like, I mean, it's important, right?
Yeah.
But it's more important what you have behind the system. That what are you gonna do? You have one lead. What's next step on that on that lead?
Right.
You will have to call the lead. You will send an email. What's the next step?
Yeah.
You have to really have like a system behind, like a step by step, a journey for that lead, in terms to really being able to take advantage of that lead. It's not just get the lead. It's what are you going to do with that lead, right?
Yeah, you have to set up your business, and that applies to anyone who's in real estate. If you're a builder, if you're a new home agent, you have to really build your business. And promotion is one part of it, but you can, create an Instagram account. But if you have no content on there that resonates with anyone you're trying to connect with, you're gone, right? You have 5 seconds to really take it in and get them. Further to that, you need to build that CRM system. Now, you can do that if you're early days. You can do that through, an Excel worksheet if you really needed it. But there's really great CRM systems out there that are fairly reasonable, but allow you to create digital workflows. That doesn't mean you're physically doing it. But for example, we use this very heavily in the new home side of things with builders, but it applies also for real estate agents as well, is getting aligned with a CRM system that anyone who registers from your Instagram page or a website, if you have it, all go into this database. Then from there, on their first registration, you can create content that automatically thanks them for the registration or connects them to your social pages so that you're reaching out to them without having to reach out to them. The other part of that too is then sending content that actually resonates with them. So, back to understanding who your buyer is. If you're farming a certain area, maybe you're putting marketing stats, and that's getting sent out to your database on a monthly basis, right? And us at TFN and you fine gentlemen provide agents with all of that information that there's not a lot of legwork that needs to get done, right? Like you guys are giving them here's, October's market stats, and they can reposition and repurpose all that. Do that, spend one day a month putting together all your content and then rolling that out on all your digital platforms. I mean, we're in 2024, right? Tech works for us. We just have to be smart enough to make it work for us.
I feel like it's easy for us to understand what needs to be done. But as you're speaking, I realize that, maybe some real estate agents aren't aware of these processes. So I think it's really valuable that you kind of take us through those steps as you have been.
I started in new homes, and that was kind of the love affair that I started. And for half a second, I thought, okay, I'm going to do resale. And at the time, 20 years ago, I was like, how am I going to do that, right? Like, how am I actually going to be like these big top producers with, 20 years ago, you put your face over a bus or a bench and those kinds of things. And those are still valid. But we've really transitioned the way that all consumers consume information, right? Like I find myself, middle of the night, I'm down the rabbit hole of all these real estate agents that do amazing tours of the homes that they've listed, or, those like hacks of staging a home, or, what to look out for when you're looking for a home. And all of those elements, once you've defined who your audience should be, are really fruitful. They're helpful because it's those little things that maintain your authenticity, but also speak to a buyer out there that's going to call you because something you said resonated with them, right? And it's getting that message out. It's being your authentic self and being really clear on what your goal is, right? And so, we always say, what are the 5 W's, right? And in elementary school, they were one thing. Now it's who's your audience? What is the message that you're trying to deliver? What's your return on it? Do you want to increase your database by 20%? Do you want to find 3 buyers out of this, program that you're going to run? Or is it exposure, right? Is it content layering?
Like an objective, right?
You got it. And it's understanding, like, you can't land somewhere and just expect it to happen, right? You're in control, whether that's your own business, you're in control of your audience, you're in control of who your clientele is, right? And being that leader, that professional in that space is huge. And it all starts, if I have to boil it into one thing, it's being authentic to who that is, right? All the other things come, right? When you're that educated expert in that field, like, for example, going back to the empty nester, let's say you have a lot of people in your database, they're looking for bungalows. Well, if you become the bungalow expert and you exude that and you're authentic to that, guess who's coming to you for a bungalow?
Really?
Right?
Yeah.
Same thing I've seen it many times with condos, right? Like, I envy a lot of, real estate agents and some of our colleagues who know every building that's been built in the downtown core, what it's trading for per square foot, what the amenities are. It's amazing. And so even for me, if I have questions about condo, I'm not going to spend 4 hours trying to look for the information. I'm going to connect with that one person that has it. And in that exact example, that's where we are right now in an audience and in a consumer.
You're right. Now, you were saying like before in other times, it was like just put your face in the bus or in the bench or something. Now I have a question. Now, do you think now everything should be done like digitally? I mean, it should be everything social media or email marketing or that kind of stuff? Or is there any still space for, I don't know, cold calling or I don't know, what other
Plus advertising.
Yeah,
exactly.
Other alternatives. I think it goes back to who your audience is. I mean, social media, the digital advertising of things,
Makes sense.
it's your best and highest use. For the amount of dollars you're going to put into it, you're going to be exposed to so many eyeballs. But it's what you do with that, right? It's how you get that person to actually register. Because there's a very big difference between getting an impression versus someone who's going to engage with you and register, right? There's probably a lot of things that have to happen in order for that person to resonate and register with you.
Yeah.
But the medium of, print ad, it's there too. And I love that you said cold calling. I think that, if there's an agent who's starting their business and they say, how can I be the difference? What am I going to do to be the difference amongst all of the same, right? I think during COVID and as I'm going to be a little bit on the line right now, but I think we became scared of humanity. Post-COVID, we got used to being at home. We got really used to being in front of a screen. And that interaction, I don't answer any phone number I don't know, right? And I'll just text them like, hey, you called? Like, what's up, right? And I think just instinctively, we became pretty
closed
scared
off,
and almost like we became very, I guess scared is the best way, but not used to interacting with one another.
Totally.
Right?
Yep.
And so going back to what I could do different, cold call. Right? Because that person that's going to actually get on the phone and say, hey, are you looking to buy a house? Or are you looking to
make
list?
it more personal.
Make it more
get in
personal.
touch with the
Discard them, right? And just sort of disarm that feeling of, I'm nervous, you're nervous. You're going to hear my shaky voice a little bit. You do it in front of a mirror. I mean, back in the day, we had training gurus that, used to tell us when you're making those calls, always smile and do it in front of a mirror. So this way you can see your facial expressions because that translates into your tone of voice. Sit up straight, like the whole thing. And I think we can go back to some of those traditional areas of marketing. Maybe they're not exactly the same, apples to apples compared, but they're different initiatives that people can take on if you're comfortable enough with that. Door knocking's another one, putting together something that is a quick hit using modernity. So like QR codes are huge. And again, very, very favorable after COVID. Everyone got used to a QR code. Like I remember a year before COVID hit, QR codes were introduced and we're like, no one's going to get this. No one's going to get this. Then all of a sudden restaurants, to get a menu when we got back into civilization, QR code on the table. And then in, sort of the real estate space, it blew up because it allowed us to give a ton of information in a code. Yeah. And it allowed that consumer to then extract whatever information they needed out of it, right? Totally. Versus, day of the past where you used to put together a little pamphlet about yourself. Like I remember going on a listing presentation and the night before I'm printing everything and putting it in a duotang and do you remember those like clear plastic ones with the binder on it? Yeah. And it was like selling me and who I was and what I did and my stats and houses that I listed. And I had, we used to do feature sheets that I included in there. And all of that now is actually archaic, right? Yeah. Now you just sort of give them a QR code if they want to explore it all. Yeah. But further to that, if you have a really great, authentic page on any social media platform, they're going to actually see your success and who you are. You no longer have to sell that piece of it, right? Yeah, totally. And that's the important part, right? It just goes back to understanding what you want to achieve and being authentic to that.
Totally.
Yeah. I'll take us to our next question, which is going to be about tools. Whether it's AI tools or just digital tools in general, but you touched on, CRM, and I think for a lot of people who are watching, maybe they're not familiar with kind of the options that they have. So I was hoping that you can take us through a couple of things that you think are, most important, or, tools that you can't live without.
Yeah. So I love AI.
That was the first option.
Yeah, so do we.
Was it like,
I love AI.
Of course.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Can we say that?
I think
Hashtag
so.
not
Yeah.
sponsored, ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I love it. At first, I was very nervous. When it first came on the scene, I was like, oh, this thing's going to replace me because I'm the idea person,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Like, this thing has all these great ideas. And then I got over myself. How dare I think I was that important? And after that, I use it for everything, like everything. And I'm of a different generation. I'm instinctively not a Googler. Like, there's often times where, my husband and I will be driving and we're going to Walmart and he's like, is Walmart open? I'm like, how do I know? Let's drive. We'll get there. If it's open, it's open. But that's the way that I was raised. And that's like sort of my default, if you will. And so it's been interesting for me. That's important to understand that now I AI everything. I chat GPT everything, right? And it only just enhances where I want it to go, right? And so like an example of it is write me a warm welcome to a new client, right? And it'll give it to you. And you don't have to, I wouldn't recommend a copy and paste.
Right.
But what it does do is it gets the juices flowing, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I want to say this piece or that, or, make it softer, make it more professional, make it friendlier,
It gives
whatever.
you an idea.
Yeah, it's the idea that maybe it would have taken you, and this is the piece. So this for me is the piece. I'm working smarter because where it would have taken me an all-nighter, let's say, for example, where I would have gotten an idea at 9 p.m. and then I would have worked through the night to really see that through and mull it through. Now I can take the same thought. I'm kind of there, but I'm not quite there. I throw that into ChatGPT, and now in 20 minutes, I have exactly what I wanted, sort of that program to look and feel like. And even down to what marketing can be, right? It's so hand in hand that if you use it to work with you, it's not going to replace you. It's only going to enhance your productivity. And really, even AI on all of these social platforms, they're huge, right?
And it was in one day. I mean, not on one day, but it was, I think,
overnight.
in 1 year.
Yeah.
It was one day was, what is ChatGPT? The next day, everyone was using ChatGPT for everything.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. And now that you say that, it's not just ChatGPT.
No.
It's AI in general.
Now,
Canva has a lot of tools with.
I love Canva's another one.
With
Realtors, Canva. Subscribe to Canva. I love Canva. And again, it's that enhancement, right? It's
Totally.
Even this weekend, I'm making my kids birthday invitation on Canva.
I did my
Right?
daughter invitation with Canva. Totally.
Because you have all these templates, and then Canva understands what you're trying to do, and it's like, we recommend this template for you. And I'm like, yeah, perfect, right? Again, same thing. It saves me so many hours, and now that you can just print everything there, I'm like, boom, done. In an afternoon, it was done, versus that birthday invitation would have taken me 4 days to execute on.
Totally.
Right?
Yes, and we see it all the time for us as well. We were talking 1 month ago. We used to do it with Illustrator, Photoshop, all the kind of things,
PowerPoint,
right? Crazy. What at that time would take us maybe 1 hour, 2 hours.
Yeah,
Now
to do
it's
simple tasks.
15 minutes.
I know.
It's just
I
the
love it.
time that you're
Yeah.
saving
Yeah.
with every single task.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
And
it's
you're making money, right?
Exactly.
The time you're saving there, and then, one time in the past, you would actually hire someone to do all of that, and it's plus. And if you're at a certain level, you still need that.
Yeah.
I think that if you are trading and your transaction base is large, you probably need that in-house person.
Yeah.
But if you're just getting started, or if you're dynamic in terms of where you are in your markets, you're saving money.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
What would you say is the best use that a real estate agent could, for what specifically? If you are a real estate agent, you open ChatGPT, what are you going to use it for?
Multiple things. For me, it's my brain is spinning right now because there's like 3 different places that I want to go straight and immediate. Okay, so my 3 number ones is first, an e-communication campaign.
Okay.
So ChatGPT, AI, show me how I can connect with my registrants on information that's going to mean something.
Yep.
Right? And it's going to give you this like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? From there, it's going to get your creativity. And then in my second spot of number 1 is compose an email that is clear, it's concise, it's an easy read. Because sometimes we're in our head too, right? Like many times I write something and I'm like, oh, this is a thing of beauty. And then, I have someone else read it and they're like, you lost me after the first part because you're so in the weeds with it, right? You don't have any distance to understand. Like that may mean something to you, but to your audience, it means nothing, right? So that would be second in line is understanding like, how am I going to speak to these people and when are the most appropriate times to connect with them? And then what should I say? And then the third one is, I don't know if everyone's used, it's a premium side of ChatGPT, but they can images. Yeah. They can create.
Wally, I think is the name of the tool.
Yeah.
Right?
That thing has blown my mind many a times.
Yeah.
Like, so for some of our builder clients, in my previous life, they were like, okay, we want this, we're going to build this community and we want to see if we can do this open community space that maybe it's a garden, but we don't really want to, we don't want to invest into the renderings and the working drawings. We just want to kind of see if it looks and feels and fits into the community. 1 second, right? And like,
boom. It's just
boom.
crazy.
And you just get that inspiration and they're all licensed. So if you wanted, to use them in some of your content then that you put into Canva, you can do that. Even Canva has great ones. Like there's so many times where, I'm searching that photo and I'm like, someone working on a laptop. And they just give me, and they're all licensed if you have the premium accounts. And like you can just, filter by your mood, the color template. Crazy. And so now you have a cohesive brand, right? In addition to all the other elements, you have an engine that's helping you be very clear in your communication. And then you have a second engine that is really implementing this cohesive creativity that when someone sees your brand, it's gonna resonate that it's yours, right?
Truly.
And then the third piece is a CRM system. Like as little or as extensive as you want to go, there's really great ones. Constant Contact is a phenomenal one. I've worked with it in multiple capacities.
Is it free? No. You have to pay, like,
there's a subscription. But there's when you first start and you're working on your business, you have to always understand that there is going to be a healthy percentage of your earnings that has to go to development.
Like an investment.
You got it. You got to invest in yourself, right? And admittedly, when I first started, I never did that.
I don't want to spend money.
No, I was like, no, I'm going to get this. And it's hard when you see those commission checks to then separate that, right? I had already spent it 10 times over. And that's the problem sometimes. But you really should invest in these small investments. Like total, all 3 of those platforms are less than $1,000 a month. Yeah. They're not crazy. Yeah. And so for $12,000 a year, you could really have all of these technologies work for you, building your brand, equating to dollars in revenue. And that's huge.
Yeah. I think one of the most amazing things about ChatGPT and AI overall is that they don't just create something for you. You can input information, you can give them information, and based on that information they will customize in certain way the output of the information that they give. It's just if you change something on the thing that you're asking, like change it this, but the person is this or that, they will change everything.
Oh, guilty as charged. I'm like classic. Rewrite this in a friendly way. And it right? Because just, again, back to it's your authenticity, right? So if you're writing or you're composing an email and you're trying to do an outreach and you really don't want to do it, you have 1,000 things to do, you have some showings, like let's be real, right? Like maybe there's another series, a docu-series you want to watch. like having that content and needing to create that content at times can feel daunting, especially if you're not a creative person. Like, if you're not the three of us that geek out over all this stuff, it could feel very, very daunting. And so that's where, from my opinion, ChatGPT or any AI sort of function works really well and can complement you, because you put that in there and you just see it at work, and it's new, right? And we're creatures of habit, and this is not something we've seen before. And so it's new, so it gets you, I don't know, every time I put it in there, I'm excited. Like, I can go from a bad mood, and then I'll like throw something in there, and I'm like, oh, that was super cool. Okay, let me keep going, right? Let me try more.
It's like Diana. I remember in one podcast episode, she was like, today I spoke with ChatGPT. She goes like crazy with ChatGPT. But okay, my last question here, it's like, we want to have like a specific actionable task or idea or something that a real estate agent that is hearing right now can go and say like, okay, I'm going to do this specific thing and that will help me be more out there or create more leads or sell more houses. I don't know. Do something.
Okay, so if you're a realtor with a brand already and you have, a okay platform and presence online, boost a post. Boost a post that's
really good one. Good one. Yeah.
Boost it that maybe has you in front of the camera, that's short, that's a bit entertaining, that's just not like snoozy kind of static lifestyle. Those are all important within your brand and to place that within the brand. But boost something that shows the audience who you are and what content you're trying to, the message you're trying to convey. That would be like first and foremost. If you're
and it's really simple. It's like one click.
Yeah, it's one so simple, and you can say like boosted $20 a day for 7 days. For the next 7 days, and then if you see in 2 days it's crickets, then just cancel it. Right?
Exactly.
Like there's systems that are dynamic specifically on the Meta platform that allow you to do that. The second to that is get very comfortable in front of the camera. Like sometimes what we feel is really goofy resonates, right? Like
it's authentic.
It's authentic. Back to the authenticity, right? It's like turn your camera around and take that selfie or do the tour, on your camera or whatever.
Yeah.
We have tech. It's not easy, but that's where I'm saying get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Like tour your bedroom, tour your own home, whatever. So that you have a little bit of a skill set and watch it back. The hardest thing to do, but watch it back, because you will change some of your behaviors as you can see yourself in someone else's lens.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Do you have
what
any?
else?
I think that was great.
What else for
really
me?
Good.
I think that was great.
That was really good. Our idea is to keep these episodes really short, really
Totally.
Yeah.
to the point, and give the real estate agents a lot of information and strategies and just things that they can really create and then improve their strategies.
So week 1, boost your posts. That's what you need to do.
Perfect. Awesome.
Got it.
Nicole, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
your
guys.
time,
Very
for
much.
being here.
Pleasure.
Leave us a review and see you on the next episode.